And here they come. They are approaching our mission control center. And just on the right there, you can see what we call the barn. That is the facility where we keep our rockets. Of course, we've got the rocket out there on the pad, as well as the second rocket that flew just a couple of weeks ago. That one is dedicated to payload flights.
It's really amazing to see all the demand we've seen for those payload flights, to the point where we're able to have a full separate booster specifically dedicated to doing this important research in science.
And you know, Jackie, one day we are going to combine those payloads and the astronauts to do some tended payload flights. Just a wonderful opportunity for many scientists and engineers around the world who want to develop their technology. Maybe they don't need to go to orbital space. They just need a couple minutes of beautiful, clean micro-Gs, and that's what they get with these flights on New Shepard. Now you see the two vehicles have taken a left, and they are on their road to space. Jackie, I can tell you from having done the astronaut training just a couple of months ago, so I got to do everything minus get inside of a rocket that was up on the launch tower. But we did all of this because we had to coordinate it, of course. And the drive out there, there's this interesting mix of adrenaline, because you're basically harnessing and containing your own adrenaline, and you're trying to kind of level it out. But it's also very peaceful, right? It is this 2-mile road that goes out to the launch pad, out to the rocket, and you're there with your thoughts. You know, these 4 astronauts have been thinking about going to space for a long, long time, and this moment is here.
I have to know, what was on the playlist when you drove down the road to space? I know that mine would have an excessive amount of Pitbull. I don't know if that's a little too hype for this experience, but hopefully they're listening to some Rocket Man or something.
Yeah, exactly. Rocket Man was definitely on the playlist as we head out there. Now, Jackie, once they head out the road to space, there is the ring road that goes around the launch pad. They are going to go to the north end of the ring road, and they're going to stop and take a photo, take a couple of beautiful photos right before they get back in the Rivians, head back to the base of the launch tower, where they will ascend the tower and stop in the safety shelter first.
Yeah, and you can see a good view of that safety shelter right now. That's that white box on top of the launch tower.
You can tell that pensive look. They're all taking in the moment, as they should. I can only imagine being in that.
I see all smiles from astronaut Powers, so that's very exciting. Have a good view of that ring road now, which is that circular ring surrounding the launch pad, as Ariane mentioned.
There you go. They're checking it out. Now, from the training to cruising in your Rivians to the launch to the landing, this really is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If you guys are watching out there and you want to be one of those astronauts on the way to space, really encourage you, visit BlueOrigin.com and click on Fly to Space. We'd love to see you on that rocket, and let's be honest, frankly, we'd love to be on that rocket with you.
If you could put in your note that you specifically want to fly with Jackie and Ariane, maybe we'll see what can be done there. The astronauts are getting out of their Rivian, getting those smiles ready for that ring road crew photo. And Ariane, like you've mentioned multiple times, New Shepard is alive at this point. That booster is just waiting for its crew and it's ready to go. On the right of this shot, you do see Sarah Knights, our crew member 7. She's going to accompany the crew up to the tower and make sure they're situated in the capsule in just a little bit here.
That is a good-looking crew. In fact, while we got a moment here, they're going to get back into their Rivians. Why don't we get to know Sarah Knight and our Capcom Kevin Sprague just a little bit better? We've got a wonderful video to introduce them to you.
The entire vision of Blue Origin is we want to democratize space.
T-minus 10.
You don't need to be a NASA astronaut. You don't need to be a trained engineer.
5,
We want artists
4,
and poets and
ready,
teachers
start.
and scientists
2,
to be able to go to space.
1. New Shepard has cleared the tower.
Crew member 7 is a position unique to Blue, 2 assigned to each launch. There are 6 people that can fly in our crew capsule. The 7th person is the crew member 7.
This is for real.
The other crew member 7 is called capsule communicator, and they represent all of mission control and launch operations to the astronauts.
It took me a long road to get here. I spent over 20 years as a fighter pilot at the United States Navy, but since I've been 8 years old, I wanted to be in space. Coming here to Blue Origin is the realization of a childhood dream of mine.
My background is in physics and astronomy. I went into STEM education. I was a teacher for many years. And when the position opened up at Blue, I knew that was me.
Flight correction, you're clear to fallback.
The fact that I'm crew member 7 and the visible point of our entire team, it's such an honor.
The ascent descent position is crew member 7 is part teacher, part trainer, and part guide.
They're embedded with the astronauts. They're truly a member of the crew.
They're going to live with you at the astronaut village. They're going to conduct all of your astronaut training.
Spaceflight is complicated, but our astronauts that fly with us will not need to have a complicated view of what's happening. The rocket is autonomous, and all of the safety systems are hardwired into the core.
On launch day, crew member 7 is actually going to walk you up the tower, put you in your seat in the capsule, close the hatch.
Capsule Capcom 1.
The Capcom will then take over as the astronauts take their journey to space. And then as soon as they land,
Capsule touchdown.
crew member 7 will be there to help open the hatch and whisk them away to the celebrations. Our astronauts are one part of a very historic journey.
We're trying to build the infrastructure to get millions of people living and working in space.
So the people who come here will truly be helping us take that first step.
They are in wonderful hands with Kevin and Sarah.
You can say that again.
I mean, you know, with Kevin's military background, that discipline, the rigor. You've got Sarah with her academic background. She's an incredible teacher. The two of them work together well, they're very different styles, but they work together so well. I can't imagine a better team to be guiding our astronauts through this entire experience. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us live. If you've just joined us, we're at T-minus 33 minutes to go until launch, our second human flight. Our astronauts are ascending the tower here, as you can see. We've got the great William Shatner. We have our Blue Origin's very own Audrey Powers, as well as our 2 customers, Glen de Vries and Chris Boshuizen, who are ascending the tower as well, and they are being greeted and hosted up the tower by our founder Jeff Bezos. So an incredible morning for all of them, as well as for us at Blue. Cannot wait. It's the same energy that we felt down here just a couple of months ago when we had our first human flight. And let me tell you, this doesn't get old. When you put people on board a rocket, this doesn't get old. And I can tell you, you know, I'm very close with Audrey Powers, of course, as a close friend and colleague. I've known Chris for over a decade. it's not just putting people on board, but when you know them, I'm having a moment myself, honestly. And when they take off, it's I'm glad you guys are going to be watching the rocket, because I might lose it a little bit.
I do have to say, also know Audrey very well and got a chance to talk to Glen a little bit. And actually, Glen and I are both Carnegie Mellon alumni. I had to toss that in.
I know.
Tartans in space, we have to. And I know that everyone, Glen's from New York. Everyone in New York is watching, and his adopted Pittsburgh family, I'm sure, is watching as well. So it's very personal seeing this crew fly today.
Well, and in addition to, Chris is the first full Australian to fly to space. There have been other Australians, but they've been dual citizens. Chris is the first full Aussie to fly. So hello to all of our international viewers, especially those down under. We're so excited to have you joining us. And of course, to all the Trekkies out there that are joining us, thank you so much. It is a pleasure and an honor to be sending Captain Kirk to space today. This is going to be a really, really cool moment. And when I say, it comes from all of us, there you see a shot there just a moment ago of mission control. They are, focused, and it's a very disciplined team that has been trained over months and years in the case of many of our team members there.
Right, and they're led today by Nick Patrick, flight director, NASA astronaut. They're in very good hands. And here we have the crew. They're entering the shelter just to await their ingress across the bridge, then the gantry, and of course into their seats in the crew capsule. Each of our astronauts is looking great and ready to fly today in those Blue Origin flight suits.
Fantastic. So you see Sarah Knights at the bottom of your screen, or crew member 7. She, in just a moment here, is going to go, she's going to leave the shelter. She's going to go out across the bridge, just check in with the tower crew, make sure that we're all ready to go. And then she's going to come back to the shelter and take the astronauts out to the rocket.
And once the astronauts head out of the shelter, you will see them ring a fun ceremonial bell. So that'll come up later if you're wondering what they're doing at that point. It's a little tradition that we started at Blue. Make some noise before you get in your crew capsule.
That's right. That's right. Let everybody up in space know that you're coming. They can't hear you up there. Just as a reminder. But hey, we are at T-minus 29 minutes to go here. Why don't we take a moment and check out New Shepard as she awaits her astronauts. And here they go. There's Glen de Vries, Chris Boshuizen, William Shatner, and Audrey Powers.
And today's special crew member 8, Jeff Bezos, and crew member 7, Sarah Knights. There we have our awesome tower crew ready to welcome them.
There you see Audrey giving some hugs to the tower crew. She is, of course, our vice president of mission ops for New Shepard, so of course she knows the whole team very intimately.
A lot of the team today are launching their boss to space. First Jeff, now Audrey. And there goes Glen.
Into the hatch he goes. All of this is very carefully coordinated. You practice this many times during the rehearsal. Basically you go in, walk in, you kind of walk clockwise around the escape motor, which is in the center of the capsule, and take your seat. That, of course, then you harness in. You have practiced this many, many, many times during the training, and then you'll have crew member 7, Sarah Knights in this case, who's going to come around, make sure you're properly harnessed in, and make sure things are nice and tight.
Yeah, and Ariane, I know you've mentioned to me before, you board from the highest seat number first, and then the seat number 1 is the last to board, which is, of course, Audrey Powers today.
And there goes William Shatner. One last photo op before he enters the capsule.
What a surreal moment. Captain James Tiberius Kirk is boarding our Blue Origin spaceship. Ariane, I know you've discussed your astronaut training extensively. Now, obviously buckling the seatbelt is a very important part, and they've practiced this at this point, what, hundreds of times?
I don't know about hundreds, but certainly dozens and dozens of times. You can do this, as I've said before, upside down, inside out, upward, backwards and forwards. And by the way, it's important that you can do so. This is probably the easiest moment. A little bit more complex is, of course, when you're getting back into your seat after you've been up there at 0G to get the harness, to get into the harness, and then, of course, buckle it properly. But again, under the guide of Sarah Knights, they know how to do this. I was actually asking them earlier, who is the fastest at it, and they said, of course, Audrey Powers was, because she's done this even more than they have, so she had kind of a leg up on them. There is Chris Boshuizen in the window on the left, and there goes Sarah Knights, our crew member 7, into the capsule to do last-minute harness and safety checks on the astronaut. There is Audrey on the left.
Once crew member 7 is, of course, comfortable, that all of our astronauts look at their smiling faces from those big, beautiful windows. Once Sarah makes sure all of our astronauts are ready to fly today and they close that hatch, of course, we'll turn it over at that point to crew member 7's other half, Kevin Sprague, who'll be the voice from above, the capsule communicator.
Blue Control has first step, loud and clear.
And there you heard some initial communications between Capcom and the capsule. There goes Sarah Knights, making sure the harness is nice and tight. We see just in the corner there the hands of Glen de Vries. Quick thumbs up.
2 big thumbs ups, yes.
I had the chance to chat with him just a little bit the other night, and it was wonderful. I said, Glenn, what do you think you're going to think about once you're harnessed in? And he said, as much as I've been dreaming about going to space since I was a little kid, until you are up on top of that rocket, harnessed in, he's like, there's only so much mental preview of it that you can actually get. He said, he almost just pulled a blank. He said, I don't know, but I cannot wait for that moment. Glenn, that moment has arrived. You and your 3 co-crewmates are about to go to space and back. I hope you are taking every mental note there is.
And I loved one thing from that interview that Chris and Glenn, our customers, both actually said when they told their family and friends that they're going to go to space on New Shepard. there was pretty much a universal, well, finally.
It's about time.
It's about time. You've been talking about this pretty much since birth, so we're really happy to hear that this day is finally here for Chris and Glen, and of course, Audrey and Captain Kirk.
Glen even said, he's like, you know what? I haven't heard from a couple of friends since kindergarten, and they've reached out to me and they said, yeah, you were talking about this when you were 5. Can you imagine?
I think Glen mentioned one of his special guests is his middle school classmate who had to be here to see this day finally happen.
Flight NS-18. Looking for a comm check. Astronaut Powers, how do you read?
Control, Astronaut Powers, I've got you loud and clear. Can you say that speaker?
Astronaut Lemley, how do you read?
Astronaut Lemley, how do you read? Lemley, A-OK.
Astronaut Crispy, how do you read?
Astronaut Crispy, how do you read?
Astronaut Crispy, read you loud and clear. Ready for launch.
Astronaut de Vries, how do you read?
Astronaut de Vries, how do you read?
Read loud and clear.
All right, Blue Control, I've got all astronauts loud and clear. We are at T-minus 19 minutes and counting. I will keep you updated on the count as we go. For now, sit back and relax. You're going to see Jeff in just a moment.
And there they are. You got it there. The welcome from Capcom, Kevin Sprague. All 4 astronauts in their seats, clear communications. You heard Astronaut Powers, Astronaut Lemley. That is the call sign for William Shatner, Captain Kirk there, a reference to his children, to his family. Then, of course, Astronaut Crispy. He also is a DJ on the side, DJ Crispy. And then, of course, our other customer, Astronaut de Vries, Glen de Vries, in the final seat there. All look all sorted and ready to go to space. Again, if you're joining us live, we're at T-minus 18 minutes to go until launch, our second human flight of New Shepard. Just another extraordinary day for obviously our customers, for our astronauts, but for Blue Origin. Thank you all for joining us from around the world for this event. We've got a couple more minutes to go. Why don't we toss it back to the rocket and check out New Shepard as she continues to be ready for launch this morning. And there is Jeff Bezos closing the hatch.
Jeff, of course, now an experienced space traveler himself.
I'm sure he imparted some wise words for our astronauts. Of course, he and his co-astronauts on his first flight had a ball up in space, and maybe he gave them a couple of tips on how to toss the Skittles just right. It's all in the wrist. It's all in the wrist.
I'm still surprised he got out of the RSS first step.
Yes, yes, it's true. We do indeed only have 4 astronauts in there today. I know he had such a good time. That was a question, but no. So there you see him crossing the bridge. Our tower crew doing some final checks on the capsule. The capsule hatch actually has a redundant system in it, so it is closed. They're going to do a pressure test, make sure the seals are all working correctly, and this vehicle, what's really nice about it, obviously they've got their sweet flight suits, right? Because you got to feel like an astronaut when you go up into space. But at the same time, though, it's a pressurized vehicle, so it's a shirt sleeve environment. They don't necessarily need that. What they also don't need is a helmet, because we wanted our customers to get this full unencumbered experience and to be able to appreciate the view and the sounds, or the lack thereof, that is, of space once you're up in space. And so, again, everything about this capsule has been designed for the human spaceflight experience. All right, we are at T-minus 15 minutes to go here. We are in a brief hold. Our 4 astronauts are in the capsule and ready to go. Let's continue to watch New Shepard as she gets ready for her flight to space this morning. Thank you, everybody, for joining us live from West Texas here at our launch site 1. We are 15 minutes away from launch. We are in a brief hold here, but while we're in a hold, I understand that Capcom in our mission control has a special message for our astronauts. We're going to await that message here in just a moment.
I've got a surprise for you today.
surprise for you today?
We asked our NS-16 crew to send messages to you before your flight.
Before your flight.
So I'm going to read those to you right now. New Shepard astronaut Oliver Damon says, "Dear NS-18 travelers, you have probably been playing this moment over and over in thoughts and also quite often in real life in the case of Mr. Shatner. But now the moment is there, the moment you're really going to space, and I can assure you that it will be better than your best imagination. No day passes by that we don't look back on this journey without having a smile from ear to ear. Have a safe flight and enjoy. Greetings from your youngest predecessor, Oliver Damon."
From the last flight.
Oh. Is that the kid?
The young guy, yep.
Astronaut, New Shepard astronaut Wally Funk says, "I hope this flight will be the most fantastic experience of your life as it was mine. Take time to enjoy every aspect of this journey, from liftoff to touchdown. Jeff has done a magnificent job of ensuring the smoothest, most memorable ride, and Kevin and Sarah are top-notch instructors. Becoming part of the Blue Origin family is an honor like none other I have received. Together, let's cross new boundaries and set new records. I will be watching your liftoff with great enthusiasm and sending my best wishes. Godspeed, Audrey, Bill, Glenn, and Chris. Much love, Wally." New Shepard astronaut Demo, whose real name is Mark Bezos, has this to say: "You lucky bastards. It was only 10 weeks ago that I was sitting where you are, watching the countdown clock, full of anticipation and excitement, eager to feel the rumble of liftoff and the majesty of weightlessness. The depth of my desire to fly again is hard to express, so allow me to quote from the classic of the great American songbook, Mr. Spaceman, with lyrics by William Shatner. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along? I won't do anything wrong. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along for a ride? Godspeed, New Shepard. I can't wait to hear your stories. Mark."
What an absolutely special moment from today's second human flight crew, hearing from our first human flight crew, those words of encouragement from Oliver, Wally, and Mark Bezos, the crew before, this amazing community of Blue Origin astronauts.
And I loved that part in one of the notes where they said, look, when you go on one of these flights, you become part of the Blue Origin team and really the Blue Origin family. And that is really, you know, how we think about every single astronaut on that vehicle today. You're very special to us. You are going to have the flight, the ride of a lifetime. You are living our own dreams through you guys, so soak it in. Now, we are at T-minus 15 minutes to go until launch. We are in a hold here, but as we have a moment, as we tick down to launch, why don't we get to know the man that many of you are here to see, William Shatner.
I'm going up into space. I don't know how many people can say that. It's life-changing in its way. Not because of the aerial adventure, but because of the people I'm meeting and talking with.
I'm glad to be here.
Jeff Bezos' concept to make living and building in space, and to make pollution a thing of the past. I mean, what noble ambitions those are, and somebody has to start it.
Lands upright.
Yep. And now
We're just at the beginning, but how miraculous that beginning is, and how extraordinary it is to be part of that beginning. There is this mystique of being in space and that much closer to the stars and being weightless. I shall be entranced by the view of space. I want to look at that orb and appreciate its beauty and its tenacity is sustaining this life of ours, which allows us to look with awe and wonder at the miracle of space. There is an adventure in my life that I would not have had I not done this. And it looks like there's a great deal of curiosity about this fictional character, Captain Kirk, going into space. So let's go along with it and enjoy the ride.
It turns out William Shatner is everything you'd hope for and more. We are just so honored to be able to have the opportunity to send this man to space at the age of 90, no less. Remarkable. He will become the oldest person to have ever flown in space. And I know, Jackie, somewhere out there, Leonard Nimoy is smiling. All right, we're just at T-minus 15 minutes to go. We are in a hold here. Why don't we send it back to the pad, continue to watch New Shepard as she readies for her flight to space today. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us live for New Shepard's second human flight. We are T-minus 15 minutes to go. We continue to be in a hold here. But as you can see there, the tower crew has descended the stairs of the tower. They have gotten back in their vehicles, and they are headed back to mission control. That indeed is a wonderful sign that we looked forward towards this launch this morning. The weather looks good, as you can see here. We are continuing to make sure that the rest of our teams are aligned, though. And again, if we need to take a couple of minutes as we prepare for this rocket launch, that is quite all right. We have talked about it extensively, Jackie, at the beginning of this show. Safety is number one. We want to make sure that everybody in that mission control, as well as on top of that rocket, is ready for flight today. And with that, everybody, we have cleared the hold. We are at T-minus 15 minutes to go. Now 14 minutes and 50 seconds. This is what rocket launches are about. It is really exciting, and I'm just happy to be sharing this moment with you, Jackie.
I am too, and I'm also very happy to see continually smiling faces out of those capsule windows. That is great, great sign for today's flight.
Yes, they are all ready to go, our 4 astronauts. Why don't we take a moment, Jackie, and talk through the flight profile for today's launch?
That'd be great. So as you can see here in the flight profile, the New Shepard will lift off from Launch Site 1 here outside of Van Horn, Texas. Once New Shepard has lifted off, it'll approach that Kármán line, the 100-kilometer internationally recognized line of space. And at that point, our capsule with our crew will separate from that booster, and the capsule will continue on over that Kármán line into space. The capsule at this point full of crew who are unbuckled, floating around and getting their 3 to 4 minutes of microgravity. While they're having a great time, hopefully doing backflips, not forgetting to look out that window, the booster is headed back down to Earth. So those wedge fins at the top of the booster will be the first to deploy on its way back. And then as the booster continues down, we will put out those drag brakes. The booster is coming down hot at this point, very fast. Those drag brakes will significantly slow it down. As we approach the landing pad, that BE-3 engine will relight. It will hover, which we often are asked if that's CGI. It is real, that hover. And then the booster will softly touch down in the West Texas desert. The capsule, meanwhile, on its way back to Earth. The first thing to happen here is those drogue parachutes will deploy, slowing down that capsule, followed by the beautiful big main parachutes. And then just before that soft touchdown, we do fire some retro thrusters. They do kick up a bit of dirt out in West Texas, but that does ensure a very soft touchdown of about 1 to 2 miles per hour for our crew out there.
It really is a soft landing back down here in the West Texas desert. And as a reminder, you know, this is the standard flight profile. We are now in full customer operations, but we have tested this flight profile and vetted it across several flights over the last several years. We had 15 consecutive flights, remember, before we decided to put people on board. We wanted to make sure that we understood not just the vehicle in nominal conditions, but to really push the envelope and stretch the vehicle to make sure that it was a robust vehicle for our customers. And of course, you heard about how we think about safety and development throughout the culture, but also in the operations, manufacturing, et cetera, from Andrew Lake, who joined us on the show a little bit earlier. All right, with that, we are at T-minus 11 minutes and 50 seconds to go until launch. Our 4 astronauts are in the capsule, harnessed in. We see Audrey Powers on the left. You can't quite see it, but going clockwise, we have William Shatner, then Chris Boshuizen, and Glen de Vries in the capsule, all ready to go for launch as we tick down here. Let's take a moment, continue to gaze at our beautiful rocket as she prepares for flight this morning.
Here we are at just about T-minus 10 minutes until launch with our astronauts and especially our customers, Glen and Chris, on board. There's really no way to fully understand how they're feeling in this moment without being on there. But we do know someone who has experienced this and can share a little bit about that. Our first customer, Oliver Damon, 18 years old, the youngest person ever to go to space. Let's hear it from him.
There was not a single moment in life that I thought I would be the youngest astronaut ever. And to have been given this chance by Blue is so amazing. To meet the other astronauts and see everything is so cool.
We'd like to run this one through at full speed.
We're going up in that tomorrow.
Yes, we are.
I think there was not a single nerve in my body that was like afraid. I think it's because of the track record of Blue. The launch and the power of the G's, like you're going up to the sky. And of course the weightlessness.
Oh, wow.
Pretty cool. What I've just been through, I've been dreaming about all my life. Let's hope that many, many more people can do this. Because this experience you should share with more and more people. It's so amazing.
Oliver's perspective for someone so young is just amazing. I'm so encouraged by this next generation. I actually did like the part where he said he's been waiting for this his whole life. He's substantially younger than me, so I'm still a little bit jealous of Oliver. We're at T-minus 9 minutes until our second human launch, awaiting the go, no-go poll.
Channel 1 and UHF for the go poll for terminal count and launch. Capsule. Go. Booster.
Go.
Ground.
Go.
Safety.
Go.
Capcom.
Go.
Engineering.
Go.
This is the flight director on Channel 1 and UHF voice. Booster commence the terminal count.
Copy flight.
I guess that's it, huh?
We're going.
As you heard it, we are go for launch, go for second human flight. I am so excited for this crew. Now, earlier this week, I sat with them to discuss rockets and space in the future. Let's get to know our crew a little bit better.
All right, guys, you're just a couple of days at this point from going to space. Anybody excited?
Yes. A little bit.
Something, just a little bit?
You are.
I'm excited for you guys. I'm Glen and Chris in particular. You have bought these tickets to go to space. Why?
Yeah, the ticket is for the view. The ticket is to really get that understanding of what it's like to see Earth from that perspective and feel like we're part of this tiny little planet and this little civilization that frankly has a lot of work to do to make Earth work better, to make it more sustainable. And I want to carry that feeling that we're going to get from that view back down with me and hopefully turn that into making the world a better place. And frankly, I think being able to do that is something that can not just be great for those of us who have the privilege of being able to do this now, but will fuel this industry that will allow us to have as many people as possible on the planet see that, and everybody benefit from the things that are going to come out of space and space technology.
Yeah, I mean, this is, for me, for personally a lifelong dream, but I realized that, space is opening up for everyone. This is the beginning of a new era, right? The first 60 years of space exploration were the domain of governments. You had to be a space superpower to send highly trained astronauts into space. And, Glen and I are just regular citizens flying up. It's amazing that this is happening. I think in about 60 years, we'll look back at this year and go, this is the year the doors finally open for the human race to go to space.
Fantastic. And Audrey, we both have talked about going to space for such a long time. What do you want to do with this experience?
Well,
inspire
I
others?
can't wait to get back to everybody at Blue and have them pepper me with questions. The folks who have designed this vehicle and tested this vehicle and just haven't asked me everything they want to know about what it's like when you're up there. And my nieces are coming to watch this, and they're teenagers, young kids now, and they're just absolutely mesmerized by this kind of stuff. My friends' kids are all, their Girl Scout troops are calling, and so I can't wait to talk to all them.
Fabulous. And Bill, we'll end with you. You have inspired so many for so many generations. For for the kids and the young people that are going to be watching this launch and who might want to be space explorers one day, do you have any words for them?
Well, seriously, the truth of the matter is this whole Blue Origin thing is based on the idea of building industry above the Earth and taking that pollution out of this planet, out of the immediate planet, and putting it up there. That's got to be the future of the Earth, and the Earth is dependent on that and the youth. So the two work hand in hand, and so it's very important that the young people of today know that that up there is the future, and to work towards that for the improvement of the Earth.
Fabulous. Well, thank you all for coming on this journey with us as Blue Origin, but thank you for inspiring others, and also as we go forward coming out of this, continuing this inspiration. So thanks, guys. Good luck. Godspeed.
Wow, well, some great perspectives from a crew that's clearly more than ready to fly to space today. Well, we are just under T-minus 5 minutes until liftoff, so things are getting real.
Things are getting really real. And what I really loved about that video is this crew gets it, right? Every single person on that rocket gets it, how important going to space is, of course, for the ability to have that incredible view and the incredible experience of being in zero G, but also to inspire others and understanding what the road to space is about and why we're trying to ultimately have millions of people living and working in space to make life better back here on Earth.
And a big thing they all talked about that is truly so special is, you know, everyone wants to know how those 3 minutes were in space, but they're excited about what comes after, you know, and I think that's just something really, really special about this crew. Their focus on, like you said, inspiring others after this flight, long after this flight is over.
Exactly. All right, so again, T-minus 3 minutes and 50 seconds to go until launch. What's coming up shortly here? So at T-minus 2 minutes, we send the show over to New Shepard. She's a fully autonomous vehicle, which means that from T-minus 2 minutes through launch up to apogee and back down to landing, the rocket is in control of itself. Of course, we have an incredible team in our Mission Control Center that have their eyes glued on their screens to make sure that everything is going well and is within bounds. But we built the rocket to be autonomous for safety. Again, we think that while we've got some pretty smart people in that mission control, the rocket is in fact quicker and faster at controlling itself. So what we're going to see here shortly, the rocket is going to go through what we call the bit checks, the built-in tests. At the base of the rocket, you see 3 of the 4 fins down there. Those are the aft fins. Those are going to move back and forth. We want to make sure that they've got full freedom of movement. Also, what you're going to see at the base of the rocket, you can kind of see, it's a little hard in this image, you're going to see the engine nozzle gimbal. The engine moves back and forth. It also helps with the directional capability of the rocket on ascent, but also especially on descent as it comes in to land on the landing pad just 2 miles north of where it's taken off from. And then, of course, you've seen throughout the morning the rocket venting. It's full of propellant at this point, but we want to make sure that we keep the propellant tanks within bounds, of course, of pressure and temperature. This morning, a little bit easier to do that versus our last flight, which was in the middle of July. It was warmer. It's actually a nice balmy morning here down in West Texas. But again, we've got our team who have their eyes on their computer screens, making sure that everything is within bounds. And there goes the gantry retracting at T-minus 2 minutes. Let's listen in. There go the aft fin checks at the base of the rocket. Our astronauts can feel that. They are sitting at the top of a 60-foot rocket, about 20 meters tall. T-minus 1 minute. And there you can just see slightly there the gimbaling engine at the base of the rocket. All right, everybody. Chris Boshuizen, Glen de Vries, Audrey Powers, and William Shatner are about to go where very few humans have gone before. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to launch this rocket. Godspeed, New Shepard.
Minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Command engine start. 2, 1.
With the second human spaceflight crew. What a launch. We are on our way to Max Q, the first milestone here on its flight to space. You can follow along, obviously, with the altimeter at the base of the screen, as well as the speedometer. They are gaining speed on their climb to space. We have confirmed max Q. This is when the aerodynamic stresses on the vehicle were at their maximum. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us live for New Shepard's second human flight with Audrey Powers, William Shatner, our customers Glen de Vries and Chris Boshuizen on board. They are well on their way to space. So far, a nominal flight, a clean burn on our Blue Engine 3. New Shepard giving them a beautiful flight to space this morning. The rocket is climbing towards an altitude. We're aiming just over the Kármán line, the internationally recognized line of space of 100 kilometers. That is about 328,000 feet. And a gorgeous view down the rocket. And now we've had main engine cut off. The BE-3 engine has shut off. And in just a moment, we're going to separate the capsule from the booster. And at that point, our astronauts will have the opportunity to get out of their harnesses and enjoy the beauties of zero G. Let's wait to listen. And there you can see a clean separation between the capsule and the booster. And there you can see the capsule from the top of the booster. They are continuing their ascent over the Kármán line. You'll know when they hit apogee, when the speed hits 0. And there they are, over 328,000 feet, over 100 kilometers. Welcome to space. The newest astronauts on board our crew capsule. And there they are. They have just about hit their apogee. at about 351,000 feet. And while we don't have apogee, I can just imagine Jackie, they are having the time of their lives. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us live from West Texas. So far, a nominal flight for our second human crew. So exciting, Jackie, to have sent Captain Kirk himself, William Shatner, to space. I cannot wait to hear his commentary upon return, as well as our two customers, Chris Boshuizen from Australia, to all the fans tuning in from down under. A big shout out to you guys, as well as Glen de Vries and our very own Audrey Powers. They are coming back home. The booster, of course, is going to beat the capsule back home. It is more aerodynamically shaped, of course, at the base of the capsule. It's kind of a blunt end, so it's less aerodynamic. What we're going to see coming up shortly is at the top of the rocket, we have the ring fin. There's some what we call the pie fins that extend from the ring fin, as well as the drag brakes. The pie fins, the wedge fins, help stabilize the vehicle, kind of like the feathers at the back of an arrow. And then you will also see the drag brakes. And as you mentioned, Jackie, it cuts the velocity dramatically. There you can see the wedge fins are out. Here we see the descent. We are going to expect the BE-3 engine to relight just at about 3,600 feet or about 1,200 meters above ground level. Let's wait for that now. The drag brakes have deployed. And here we come, New Shepard. Touchdown. Welcome back, New Shepard. The fourth flight to space and back for that vehicle provided a beautiful flight to space for our second human crew. Wow, that gets me every time we do this live down here in Texas. The sonic boom is so cool. Drag brakes are folding back in, as have the wedge fins. Just looks like you could fuel her up and go again. What do you think, Jackie?
And even when you know to expect the sonic boom, it still catches you off guard every time.
Talk about a rumble. A beautiful sight of our New Shepard rocket there in the West Texas desert. But of course, the show is not over. The capsule is descending. We are waiting for first the drogue chutes to deploy. Those are very much like the guide parachutes. They will subsequently be followed by the main parachutes that will first reef and then fully inflate. And there go the drogue parachutes. And here come the mains. Whew, what a flight. You can already start to hear the cheers from outside our stage here in West Texas.
just threw a piece of fog cola. Like, there's a lot. Look out your window, Audrey. Oh, yeah, I see it. You know what? I can't see the booster. Where is it? Probably from the cover. It's going to rotate. I want to find that pod and take it home. How about that, guys? How about that, guys? That was unlike anything they described. All right, we got less than 1,000 feet. All right. Raise. Let's down.
And here comes our crew back into the desert.
Newest astronauts, 596, 97, 98, and 99.
That's unlike anything you'll ever feel.
Stand by touchdown. Stand by touchdown.
Stand by touchdown.
And capsule touchdown. Welcome back, the newest astronauts, Audrey Powers, William Shatner, our customers, Glen de Vries and Chris Boshausen. What a day for you. Welcome back. I cannot wait to talk to them, Jackie, and just get what they experienced up there this morning. What a clean and beautiful flight from the rocket for our astronauts.
What an absolutely stunning flight. And I also loved hearing that audio of them on their way back about how this experience was for them. And I can't wait to hear their stories.
Well, you heard William Shatner say, this is like nothing I've ever experienced before. So coming from a man who in theory has experienced space
who
for
has
decades.
gone warp speed and traveled the entire intergalactic universe. This was like nothing he's ever seen before.
What a day for our astronauts. So now our team is preparing landing safety operations and recovery of our astronauts from the crew capsule. We'll be on the ground at the landing site to follow the action in just a bit, maybe even talk to the world's newest astronauts. Some absolutely breathtaking stuff. And I'll note that you're going to see our the recovery team show up very shortly because we actually send them out before the capsule has landed, because through our modeling, we get by now we're very, very good at analyzing where the capsule is going to come down, given where we know.
Very precise on that landing.
Exactly, where the winds are. And so we're going to see the recovery team come out there, and of course they will also be joined by some of their friends and family to watch as they emerge from the capsule. Let's check out these beautiful shots of our 4 astronauts there in the Texas desert after having gone up over the Kármán line and back. And here's some beautiful shots of our 4 astronauts in the capsule awaiting the recovery team. I understand from Capcom that they have had communications with those 4 astronauts, and they have all given the thumbs up that they are doing A-OK after an exhilarating flight to space and back.
Awaiting that recovery team in that champagne shower, which
Yes.
I'm now regretting that we don't have any champagne for ourselves, Ariane. That feels very unfair after this show.
There's some waves from our astronauts there. And there in the foreground, you see the capsule, the background, their ride to space, the new Shepard booster. Again, that booster has flown to space and back 4 times with this flight. And coming to get them is the recovery crew. And Jackie, you can see there, again, beautiful shots of the capsule. The parachutes actually have fallen pretty close to the capsule itself, meaning that there isn't a lot of ground wind out there. We talked about this earlier in the show, and of course we had to delay a day because of the gusty winds that have been out there. But no, today has been a beautiful day for a launch and landing of a rocket and launch and landing of 4 new astronauts.
I know we were talking to Chris a couple days ago, and he actually flew that USB full of music from around the world to space. As you mentioned, he's a DJ. So of course we have our new astronauts. We have our Club for the Future postcards that have just returned from space. And of course, you know, some of the personal items like this awesome USB full of music. I wish we could be playing some of that right now.
Well, you probably will soon. Actually,
Yes.
you know, as we mentioned, Chris Boshuizen has kind of a side gig as a DJ, DJ Crispy, and he actually released an album on Friday, and I can't wait to see what he does with that music. Some musicians on board too. Of course, William Shatner. Everybody knows him as an actor. He also sings. I think that's one of the most beautiful things about what we're doing at Blue Origin. Again, opening the door to more people to go to space. Yes, the scientists, yes, the engineers, but now the artists, poets, singers, DJs, let's just see what they create coming out of this experience. We have said it before, going to space changes you. We've talked about the overview effect, and I can't wait to see how the stories that come out of, and the art that comes out of this. All right, we now have Sarah Knight going around the capsule, getting the thumbs up from each of our astronauts. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us live from West Texas, where we have just completed our second human flight of the new Shepard vehicle. Our crew on board, the great William Shatner, now who has become the oldest person to have ever flown to space at the ripe age of 90 years old, our very own Audrey Powers, as well as our 2 customers, Glen de Vries and Chris Boshuizen. Our recovery crew is out there and is about to open the hatch. There is our founder, Jeff Bezos, giving the big thumbs up.
This looks like a familiar shot I remember seeing recently.
Yes.
A very happy
Woo!
birthday.
And here come their friends and family.
I don't know. My captain.
We'll have to see. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's right.
Up on the boom, guys.
Again, thank you everybody for joining us live from West Texas at our launch site 1. Our second human space flight crew has gone to space and back up over the Kármán line, just over 351,000 feet. We're awaiting Jeff Bezos, who is now opening the hatch.
Yes.
There's Audrey Powers, a big hug from her sister.
Captain Kirk himself, the great William Shatner.
Our customer, Chris Boshuizen, the first full Australian citizen to go to space and back. And Glen de Vries. Some big hugs from their loved ones.
In a way, it's indescribable. In a way, it's indescribable. That's what I thought. You have to work on it. It's so hard to describe. You have to work on it because not only is it different than what you thought, it happens so quickly. You know what the impression I had that I never expected to have is you're shooting up.
Oh my God.
Give me a champagne bottle. Come here. I want one. I want to hear this. Here. You want a little of this? Hey.
The champagne showers have begun. Smiles all around. William Shatner taking in the moment clearly.
What you have built. If everybody in the world needs to do this. Everybody in the world needs to see the oh my God. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, you know, the little things of weightlessness. But to see the blue cover go whoop by, and now you're staring into blackness. That's the thing. The covering of blue, this sheet, this blanket, this comforter of blue that we have around it. We think, oh, that's blue sky. And then suddenly you shoot through it all of a sudden, as though you whip off a sheet off you when you're asleep, and you're looking into blackness, into black ugliness. And you look down, and there's the blue down there, and the black up there, and it's just, there is Mother and Earth and comfort, and is there death? I don't know. Is that death? Is that the way death is? Whoop, and it's gone. Jesus. It was so moving to me. This experience has been something unbelievable. You see, yeah, you know, weightless, my stomach went up, and I thought, God, this is so weird. But not as weird as the covering of blue. This is what I never expected. Oh, it's one thing to say, oh, the sky and the thing and the fragile thing. It's all true. But what isn't true, what is unknown until you do it, is this
pillow. There's this soft blue. Look at the beauty of that color. And it's so thin. And you're through it in an instant. It's what a, how thick is it? We know.
I mean, the atmosphere.
Is it a mile? 2 miles?
I mean, it depends on how you measure because it thins out, but maybe 50 miles. Not even.
But you're going 2,000 miles an hour. So you're through 50 miles at whatever the mathematics
Fast.
are.
Yeah, really
You know,
fast.
it's like a beat, and suddenly you're through the blue. And you're into black. And you're into, you know, it's mysterious and galaxies and things. But what you see is black. And what you see down there is light. And that's the difference. And not to have this, you have done something. I mean, whatever those other guys are doing, what isn't, I don't know about that. What you have given me is the most profound experience I can imagine. I'm so filled with emotion about what just happened. It's extraordinary, extraordinary. I hope I never recover from this. I hope that I can maintain what I feel now. I don't want to lose it. It's so much larger than me and life. And it hasn't got anything to do with the little green planet, the blue orb, and it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the enormity and the quickness and the suddenness of life and death. And oh my God. It's something.
It's so beautiful.
Beautiful, yes, beautiful in its way, but...
No, I mean your words.
Oh, my words.
It's just amazing.
I don't know. I can't even begin to express what I would love to do is to communicate as much as possible the jeopardy, the moment you see how the vulnerability of everything. It's so small. This air, which is keeping us alive, is thinner than your skin. It's a sliver. It's immeasurably small when you think in terms of the universe. It's negligible. This air. Mars doesn't have it.
Right there.
Nothing. I mean, and when you think of way carbon dioxide changed to oxygen, and what is it, 20%, and suddenly that level that sustains our life, it's so thin. To dirty it. I mean, that's another whole
And you shoot
subject.
through, what you were saying about shooting through it so fast.
So quickly, 50 miles
And then you're just in blackness.
You're in death.
Yeah.
The moment
This is life.
This is life, and that's death. And it's in an instant, you go, wow, that's death. That's what I saw.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And wow.
I am overwhelmed. I had no idea. You know, we were talking earlier before going, well, you know, it's going to be different. It's going to, and you have whatever that phrase is you have, that you have a different view of things. It doesn't begin to explain, to describe what for me, I mean, everybody's going to, but, and this is now the commercial, everybody, it would be so important for everybody to have that experience through one means or another. I mean, maybe you could put it on 3D and wear the goggles and have that experience. I mean, that certainly is a technical possibility. But what you need also, we're lying there and I'm thinking, listen, one delay after another delay, we're lying there, and I'm thinking, how do I feel? And I'm thinking, I'm a little jittery here. And when they move the page, there's something in the engine. They found an anomaly in the engine. They found an anomaly in the engine. We're going to hold a little longer. You're going to hold a little longer. And I feel this, the stomach, the biome inside. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm thinking I'm a little nervous here. Another delay, I'm a little more nervous. And then the thing starts. By the way, the simulation they have to be warned. It's only a simulation. Everything else is much more
Doesn't
powerful.
capture.
Doesn't capture the and besides which, the jeopardy. Bang! This thing hits. You go, well, no. That wasn't anything like the simulation.
The G-forces
the
pulling your
G-forces
skin
and your
back.
stomach. You're like, what's going to happen to me? Am I going to be able to survive the G-forces? You feel that? Am I going to survive it?
Yeah.
And then I think, good Lord, that, just getting up the bloody gantry was enough. Oh my God, what an experience! What? Nothing.
It looked like you had a moment of camaraderie with your.
Oh, we all hugged
crewmates
each
up
other.
there and-
You know, you share. It's like being in battle together, really. And there is this bonding of being in battle, but you're also embattled inside yourself. Oh my goodness! Wow, I have had an experience.
We're gonna pin you guys now.
Woo! Okay. All right. Bill.
Wow.
Remember that conversation we had about it not being
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us live. Our second New Shepard astronaut crew has made it home. We just heard some wonderful words from William Shatner, Captain Kirk, who finally had the opportunity to go to space. He became the oldest person to have ever flown to space at the age of 90, if you can believe it. He, of course, went up there with our very own Audrey Powers, our two customers, Glen de Vries and Chris Boshuizen. Jackie, you heard what William Shatner was saying. What a moment. Everybody needs to see this. He was commenting on, the fragility of it all, just how thin. You think, oh, here we are, it's all covered in blue. But then when you go in a rocket, go through it, and you see how quickly it turns to black. I mean, he was literally moved to tears by it. And it is, we've talked about it before. Rockets with people on board is an emotional experience.
And right now we're about to see our 4 newest astronauts be pinned with those astronaut wings. So let's check that out.
How was your experience?
It's going to take me a while to be able to describe.
You're going to have to process that.
It was incredible. It was the most incredible thing I've ever.
I have the great honor of pinning this on you. Not many people have been where you have.
On the other hand, if you speak now as this thing is fresh, well, not only fresh, flooding, like
Chris,
totally immersed in.
I have the great honor of pinning this on you. Welcome to a very small club.
Yeah.
Bill, it's my real honor to pin this on you. I'm very excited about your ability to communicate this. It's so important for so many people. Oops, this one bent.
So am I.
Do you have a spare one?
I never wanted to tell
We
him.
have a spare, don't worry.
Sorry, this is Audrey's.
Oh,
See,
can we get a spare one for Bill real quick? Or you think you can unbend that?
I was going to try.
That's all right, guys.
No, we'll get it.
Let's pretend I didn't.
Wow,
do it.
good job.
Look at her.
Perfect.
Did she unbend it?
She did.
Clutch. This is the hardest part of the mission.
All right. Thank
Bill,
you.
you're amazing. You're an amazing person. Audrey, you are so deserving of this.
Thank you.
You've worked so hard on this program, and all your life, you've been dreaming of this.
Isn't that true? What a gift.
Sorry, these things are tricky. I can see. I have more sympathy for Jeff Ashby now. Poor guy. He had to do it in front of a big crowd. It's just that the Nomex is very tough.
Oh, that's true.
It's like really fights you.
There we go. I heard it. I heard it.
That snap.
Congratulations.
Jeff. Thanks so much.
Okay, guys, we have 4 astronauts before you.
That was absolutely amazing. As Jeff said, we've got 4 astronauts before you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today for Blue Origin's second human flight. Of course, a special thank you to Chris Boshuizen and Glen, our customers. We look forward to, in the next several years, flying more and more of you customers from around the world. And if you watching at home are interested in flying with us, please go to blueorigin.com and click on Fly to Space. We cannot wait to send you up. Jackie, thank you so much for spending this time this morning on the desk with you. It was so much fun.
Thank you, Ariane. It was an incredible day, and I cannot wait to hear the stories from these astronauts, especially Audrey. I'm so excited to see her, give her a big hug, and hear how her experience was.
Absolutely, and we already heard from William Shatner and how he's still trying to find his words, and certainly Glen and Chris, who have vowed as well to share the story with the rest of the world. Cannot wait to hear that. Everybody, the road to space is being built. You're seeing it right here. We took a big step today. And if you are interested in joining our extraordinary team, please visit our website.
Yes, please join us. From 2 people who have been at Blue Origin for quite a long time, please come join us. And if you'd like to commemorate the day Captain Kirk flew to space, we of course have mission patches. Here you see it on the screen, apparel and other collectible gear in the Blue Origin shop.
Everybody, my name is Ariane Cornell. For Jackie Cortez and everybody here at Blue Origin, thank you for joining us. And until our next launch, Gradatum Ferociter.